Sorry. I'll make room back on the way.
Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Shetudorpanamarjanam Bhavamahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitanam Vidyavadu Jivanam Anandam Guri Gardanam Pratipadam Punamrika Svadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Nam Makari Bahudani Sarva Shaktis Tatvarpita Niyamita Smarane Nakala Intadrushi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Mamapi Turdaiva Mindrisam Mihajani Anuraka Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Savishuna Amanena Mananena Kirtaniya Sadhari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitamba Jagadisha Kamaye Manma Janmani Janmani Sware Bhavatat Bhaktir Haitaki Vai Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitamvam Vishame Bhavam Budao Kripaya Tavapada Pankaja Sita Duli Sadrisam Vachintaya Nayanam Galadashrudaraya Vadadam Gadada Rudara Gira Ulakari Chitam Vapukata Tavanamagrahani Bhavishyati Yugaitam Namishena Chakshusha Pradrisaitam Sunyaitam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Vidahena Me Aslishyava Padaratam Nastumam Adarshanam Marmahatam Karotura Yatatava Vidatatulam Pato Matprananatastu Sevanapara Adao Shradata Sadhu Sangotha Bhajana Kriya Tato Nartha Nivritti Shat Tato Nista Ruchistata Atha Sakti Tato Balas Tata Prema Yadanshati Sadakanam Mayam Premna Pradur Bhave Bhavikrama Amajana Tramanandasya Chanajana Salakaya Chakshon Militanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vajkaptu Vischa Kripasindevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavejnamo Namaha. Good evening, everyone. So we will continue tonight with Our opening discourses on Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu's 8 prayers of Siksastakam, wherein he lays out the foundation for spiritual practice for his special sankirtan. His sankirtan, which is unique in Kali Yugas. So the Supreme Lord does not simply allow his material existence to go on, wherein he gives facilities to his Jiva Shakti, his spiritual parts and parcels in Leela, his Leela, not our Leela. Sometimes we think it's our Leela, but it turns out it's a bad dream. Not in a dream in the sense that some people say it's a dream. Sometimes that sense is a misconception and it can mislead us in the proper understanding of Jiva Tattva. So we're not dreaming here, although we do dream from time to time. It's one of the states of consciousness. But it's not that we are situated spiritually and we're dreaming about our existence here. When we talk about spiritually situated, well, then we need to define the term. I'm having some discussion regarding this, so it's kind of on my mind, this misconception that's been put forth as the siddhanta of our sampradaya. And it's a very unfortunate situation that an acharya's words are seen out of context. When we see the acharya's words out of context, that means that we're taking some provisional directive and accepting it as the absolute truth. You have a young child, and you want to protect your child. So you tell the child straight up, if you go out on the road, you're going to be killed. Now, there's a possibility the child could cross the road without being killed. But still, in order to get your point across, when you're talking to your young child, you tell them, if you go in the road, you are going to die. You're going to be hit by a car and killed. Well, you could actually be just hurt severely. Maybe you wouldn't die. Maybe you wouldn't even get hit by a car. Maybe you could chase your ball into the road and survive. But don't try to argue that to your parent. It will not be successful. They are going to say, no, you will die. So we, under certain circumstance, based on the qualification of our audience, in this instant, our child, on their qualification to understand the full ramifications of what's involved in being a child. First of all, a child's very, what do you say, impetuous. They go with it, whatever their feeling is. If the ball goes in the road, they run after the ball. If the ice cream truck's over there, they run across the road to buy their ice cream. They don't look. They're impetuous. They go. That's their nature at that time. So therefore, the instruction has to be extremely firm in order to accommodate that particular circumstance of their age, of the condition of the road, of the fact that you would like them to make it, so at least that they would be able to go to their high school, prom. You'd like to see them get married, have children. You don't really want to see them die before you do. So therefore, if you go in the road, you're going to die. That's a very provisional instruction. Eventually, the child will grow up and have the overflow of their impetuous nature will be somewhat contained within their intellect at that time. So as they grow older, you could say, don't go into the road or cross the road until you look in both directions. It's a different circumstance. Now the instruction has changed. It's not that if you go in the road, you'll die. It's don't go in the road without looking in both directions.
Or you'll die.
Or you'll die. So similarly, the guru, the acharya, in considering time, place, and circumstance, will give a directive to his student. He'll give a directive to his student according to his qualification to understand what's being said to him in the first place. He may even color that instruction based on the culture and the background of his student. Certainly, according to the circumstances of the environment. So these time, place, circumstance influences upon the way the spiritual master imparts knowledge to the disciple have to be seen in proper perspective. And once a disciple's older, he should be able to understand to look in both directions, that he's not going to die every time he walks in the road. This is a very important point, that we have to be able to see the instructions of the spiritual master. And as we advance in spiritual life, we have to be able to understand those instructions in such a way that they are always harmonized with the sampradaya that the acharya or guru represents. My spiritual master, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada, always made a point. He repeatedly made this point. I have not come to give you anything new. And that's an important point. There are some acharyas who do come and give something new. And when those special acharyas come and give some new spiritual understanding that's so profound, like an understanding that really there is more than just the Brahman realization of the absolute truth of the Supreme. There's more to spirituality than just that conception of Sankaracharya. So when the next major acharya comes along, he may say, well, actually, that's an acceptable thing, that the Supreme is energy, is the supreme energetic source of everything, but beyond that, he's also a personality. When such a profound change is made, we call that a sampradaya. That's a change. That's a major change. That's the beginning of a new sampradaya. if the acharya, the guru, does not specifically point out to his disciples that this is of major spiritual significance, so major that I have to write a new commentary on the Brahma Sutras, the Vedanta Sutra. I must write a new commentary to explain it in light of this new overall understanding of the absolute truth. These are characteristics of a new sampradaya, a new commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. Without that commentary, it's not a new sampradaya. An acharya may come and spread Krishna consciousness all over the entire face of the planet. That in and of itself does not constitute a new sampradaya, unless it is accompanied by the other items that constitute the formation of a new sampradaya. Sometimes the disciples of an acharya, a powerful acharya, will attribute to him things that are not appropriate according to Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. They may accept provisional, do not cross the road or you'll die instructions as absolute and even more significant than seeing their guru's instructions in light of the whole body of spiritual knowledge which the sampradaya represents. Such misconceptions are extremely unfortunate. What they do in the absence of the guru, if he has already departed, is they set as a precedent actions and conceptions regarding spirituality into motion, which separate that group of disciples and their practice from the factual sampradaya, that and the knowledge of the sampradaya that nourishes their spiritual development. They cut themselves off at the root from the nourishment that is the basis of their spiritual advancement. In doing so, they discredit themselves to the point that their actions and misconceptions fall into a category which is known as apasampradaya, and they diminish the reputation of the guru that they love so dearly. Not a good thing. Not in the best interest of their spiritual life, not in the best interest of their praise for their guru. So, my spiritual master said he did not come to give anything different. He did everything he said was based upon, and he didn't come to start a new sampradaya. I will return now to the evening's class on Siksastakam. Sometimes our daily preaching comes into our consciousness so much moves to the forefront that presentations are somewhat colored by that thinking. But sometimes these things, just hearing them is a good thing for everyone. So I do not think it was a detour that was of no value. So Siksastakam has within these 8 verses of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, the entire philosophy in a nutshell form, in a compacted form. And as we said in the last class, the very first verse is a compacted form of the entire 8 verses. The next 7 verses are contained within the first verse. So we will move forward in that light. And we left off with a discussion of the significance of Lord Krishna coming as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's, the significance of the and the distinction of his particular sankirtan. Prem sankirtan. And we left off with the fact that in normal Kali Yugas, there are 4 yugas, and those 4 yugas together, that yuga cycle, like 4 seasons of the year, is 4,320,000 years. 1 yuga cycle. 1,000 of those yuga cycles in a day of Brahma. 4,320,000,000 years in daylight in Brahma's daylight time, and he also takes some rest, and for the other half of his full 24-hour day, we have an equal amount of time when we also take rest with him. So another 4,320,000 years. This is nighttime. So 8,680,000 years, 8 billion, billion with a B, is 1 full day of Brahma. Once in that day of Brahma, Lord Krishna appears in his original form in Vrajabhumi and displays his pastimes. Now, there are many incarnations of the Supreme Lord. There are, of course, the Purusha avatars, the manifestation of the Lord, which creates the material universe, creates the playground in which we enjoy in this world. Karna Dakshai Vishnu, Garbha Dakshai Vishnu, Kashira Dakshai Vishnu, Purusha avatars. We also have Yuga avatars. A Yuga avatar comes in each of those 4 yugas. So 4 yugas, 1,000. It's a lot of avatars. Krishna's not leaving us alone. He wants to end our material existence. So he comes again and again. Yada dharma shya glanir bhavati bharata. And he comes into every species of life. The Puranas that we have in our access only give us some of the various species. In the Bhagavat Purana, we hear certain manifestations of Krishna coming into different species of life. Harigriva is a horse, Matsya is a fish, Korma is a turtle. Sometimes he even comes into the female species of life, even though he's still the Supreme Lord. So he's not just leaving us here without any intervention on our behalf that affords the opportunity for liberation. That's an important point. Affords the opportunity for liberation. In parentheses, alone. Only liberation. So these other manifestations of the Supreme Lord, these Yuga avatars, these avatars coming during the days of Brahma, Manvantars, these manifestations of the Supreme afford an opportunity for the living entity to be liberated from the miseries of material existence. But this one avatar, in the day of Brahma, every 8 billion to 640 million years. Long time. This one manifestation of the Supreme in his original form as Sri Krishna Chaitanya offers more than, what is it? The word is taraka. More than taraka. Paraka. And what was that paraka mean? Paraka means competent. Competency to do what? What does this incarnation give? Competence for us to love fully, completely, and absolutely. Competent love. In its highest manifestation is Sri Radha herself, who is there in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we're talking of competent love. Taraka Brahma Nama. Paraka Brahma Nama. So Paraka Brahma Nama is what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is coming to give. Not just Taraka, not just deliverance, not just liberation.
So that's the difference in the other avatar, Kali Yuga ones.
That's correct.
Because Radha is not present. But when Gaur comes to give praying, Radha is present in the other Gaur incarnations. Gaur Narayan is not.
Correct.
Radha's not.
There's no competence. That half gives the competence that allows praying, which is the characteristic of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's praying sankirtana, as pointed out by Govinda to
King
Tripurari. Correct. Gopinath. What did I say?
Govinda.
Huh?
Govinda.
Okay, Gopinath. Thank you. Hard to give a good class when you're surrounded by sages that know more than you do. No chance of becoming puffed up, which is a great thing. So, Shaita Darpana Marjanam. We begin here. Shaita Darpana Marjanam, Lord Chaitanya Sankirtan movement, which now we have an overall overdue. Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. So we move that to the front, although it's at the end of the verse, the slokas. We move it to the front, and it becomes our beginning. Param Jayate Sri Krishna Sankirtana. Glory to Sri Krishna Sankirtana. Sri Krishna Sankirtana. Paraka Sankirtana. Pramuk, the highest form of Sankirtana. Because why? It's going to take us through the process of progressive devotional life from faith all the way to praying. How's it going to do that? Well, there is a beginning, and it begins by what? Cleansing the heart. Cheto Darpana Marjana. The mirror of the mind is what is being brought forth by Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. The mirror of the mind is covered. The mirror of the heart, the mirror of the consciousness. So when we say Cheta, these three words come. The mind, the heart, the consciousness, however you want to look at it, this is what's being cleaned, all these things. Cheta, Darpana Marjanam. So like a mirror, as Guru Maharaj, Swami Tripurari says here in his commentary, that this mirror of our consciousness or heart or mind acts upon what's reflected in front of it. So whatever environment we're placed in reflects on our being, and we identify with it like a mirror. It's reflecting our consciousness, our mind, our heart, where we are, what we think we are. Within the Lord's external potency, that mirror is covered by the modes of material nature. And those modes created an environment wherein the external potency of the Lord gets the better of us, and we misidentify what's being reflected. We misidentify with that reflection. It's not a clean reflection. It's not a reflection that's situated in the reality of our spiritual being. It's situated in the illusion that becomes our false ego, ahankar. So when when before us is put the modes of material nature, and we identify with that, our true self, the true clean mirror of our existence, is covered. So the beginning of the verse, Sheto Darpana Marjana, this Sankirtan movement begins by removing the dust that inhibits a reflection of our true spiritual self. Because we have no exposure to that. We are anadi, and our anadi, beginningless existence, is within the realm of the wonderland that is material misidentification. So we think it's us. And in thinking that it is us, we can't see who we really are. We think we're the dust. We think we're the reflection that we see through this dusty image of a ahankar, of false ego. So this is where Sri Krishna Sankirtan begins. It begins by removing that dust. Sheta Darpana Marjanam. And as it removes the dust, then it destroys that root misconception destroys it. Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapana. A great forest fire is created. The great forest fire that we are in, of material existence, is dissipated by the cleansing of the mirror of the mind. Now imagine a forest fire. When we think of a forest fire, this Swami brings it out in this way. When you think of a forest fire, and we see them, especially now, it seems within the last few years, that every summer it's fire season. Or maybe it's just because the media can now cover it more. But it seems that we're drying out in certain areas. And as Kali Yuga progresses, personally, not environmentally here in this continent, what we call our nation, but material existence is going to become drier and drier, and the forest fire will become more consuming for us. There's going to be no relief as Kali Yuga progresses. But now there's relief. We have a 10,000 year period when the firefighters are on duty, and the planes are in the air with the retardant, and the sound vibration of Harinam Sankirtana is there to put out the forest fire of our material existence. So first effect is the mirror of the mind, the heart, the consciousness is being cleansed. And as it's cleansing the mirror of our heart, our consciousness, our mind, as that is going on, the forest fire, which is our material existence, is dissipating. Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapana. When we look at a forest fire, even from a practical viewpoint, a forest fire, you could have all the firemen in the world. You could have all the planes at work, but sometimes it doesn't matter. They're not going to be successful. There are certain forest fires that just will, no matter what you do, will not go out unless there's some divine intervention. So even the firemen on the line know that it's a good thing to pray for some rain. So similarly, we should see that the reign of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement is the only way to put out our material existence. This chanting, this congregational chanting, this sangha of chanting, continual chanting, is what will dissipate the forest fire that is consuming, all consuming. It consumes our days, our nights, our wrongs, our rights, our enjoyments, our sufferings. It consumes every relationship we have with anybody else. Wow. Think about that. Everybody that we have affection for is going to be consumed by this forest fire, and and the ashes is all that we'll have left. That's it. Everything we have, every possession that we worked hard day and night to acquire, the place where we think is home, comfortable to us, all of our children, all of our grandparents, all of our loved ones, all of our friends, all of our knowledge, all of our education, all of our sinful life, all of our piety, everything that we have in this plane of existence will be consumed by this forest fire. Nothing will be left but ashes. and our memories of what we've left, what we're left, what has been taken from us. That's all we have left is the memories. And guess what? When the body expires and we've been through this hellish material fire that's taken everything that we've ever loved away from us, and we're left with the ashes at the end of the day, when our own body is consumed in the forest fire, the strong wind of moving to another body will dissipate the ashes of the remembrance that was our life. Our very life will also be blown away. We won't even have the ashes to look back upon to remember where we were. Bhava Maha Devakti Nirvapanam. Our life is this life, and Sri Krishna Sankirtan is the rainstorm. Because sometimes we go and we say, fireman, please help us. The fire is coming. My house is in the line of, the wind is coming. The fire is coming, please. And the fireman, no, I did all I could, but I don't have enough hoses. I don't have enough airplanes. So sometimes even our friends and our loved ones and everybody that's close and everybody that really does care about us and care about what we value in life, even though they have the feeling they can't do anything about it. It requires some special intervention. The second effect, first effect, the heart, the mind, the consciousness is cleansed. Second effect, everything that we valued and the attachments we have for it, and the fact that it completely consumes us, that fire is gradually put out. We call this stage anartha nivriti. The misconceptions that are the forest fire of our material existence are defeated, are extinguished. The aparadhs that form a misunderstanding regarding our spiritual practice, those also are diminished to a good extent. Nasta kriyeshu aviyeshu nityam bhagavadaseyaya bhagavaduttamashloke bhaktir bhavati. Nice to keep. Almost entirely. Almost. Are also dealt with during this period of anartha nivriti. After this, the verse goes on. Again, this particular item of anartha nivriti and bhajana kriya is dealt with in the second verse of Sri Chaitanya's Siksastakam. So in the second verse, this will be more elaborately and more, in a more deep way explained. Nam namakari bhagani jasarva shakti. Nam namakari bhagani jasarva shakti. And this Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large. It spreads the rays of a benediction moon that is so cooling that no fire can grow in it, that can even show in its presence. Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. Shreya, Shreshtam, auspiciousness, good fortune, good fortune.
Kairava, Chandrika Vitaranam. What is the second one? Kairava. Kairava meaning what? Kumuda, white night blossoming lotus. So it's all auspiciousness is now being discussed. Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam, corresponding to the third verse. I'm sorry. Fourth verse. Stage of Ruchi. Siksastakam. Now the real good fortune that's resulting in our attachment to the process itself is spoken above in compacted form, as I said, in this phrase, Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. So the auspiciousness of a white night blooming lotus shows Ruchi Bhakti, Ruchi, that stage wherein the sweetness of the practice is coming to such an extent that everything is, as far as attachment to what we did value before, is dissipated. So Sri Caitanya speaks of this in what? Fourth verse. Nadanam, Najanam, Nasundari. I have no desire for any wealth. Nadanam. No, not necessary. I know that I'll find no pleasure. Najanam. I can know everything in all the knowledge books of all the three worlds. That knowledge is of no significance where I want to go. I want to go beyond the plane of that knowledge. Nadanam, Najanam, Nasundarim. All the pleasures that I can have in this world, as represented by fine, beautiful women, wealth, pleasures, heavenly delights beyond imagination. All those that would come to me, I have no desire. Nadanam, Najanam, Nasundarim, Kavitramba, Jagadisha. I only want Jagadisha. Life after life. I don't even care how long it takes. Others want liberation. Liberation pales in comparison to what I'm aspiring to. So however long it takes for me to get the love that I want for Krishna to fully manifest in my being, however long that takes, that's fine with me. Najanam Najanam Nasundarim. Kavitrambhaji, Mama Janmani Janmani Sware. Wow, how deep must that spiritual realization come into us where we can speak honestly, sincerely, truthfully, this is what I am willing to pay to have what I see in my spiritual master. To have just a glimpse of what I'm seeing in him, the love I'm seeing there in him and in the sadhus, that depth of love they have for Krishna, where they've forsaken everything and are willing to invite me in and ask nothing. That depth of love that they've shown to me must be just some tiny fragment of how much love they must have for Krishna. And they're willing to allow me entrance into that plane. How special is that? How valuable is that? who cares how long it takes? Of course, once you don't care how long it takes, it doesn't take very long at all. So, Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitan, on the stage of really becoming enthused in our practice as representative of all material enjoyment becoming entirely insignificant in our existence. So I'll stop there for this evening. Are there any questions? If not, thank you very much for your association.
We talked a little bit about in the beginning, you talked about the commentary on Vedanta Sutra. We can talk just a little on Baladev Vidyabhushan and how that worked.
Well, basically, the Gaudiya Vaishnavas during the time of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, the ideal there that was put forth by Sri Caitanya was Achinta Bheda Bheda Tattva. And this concept of, we already had Madhurya Ras, Madhva, Gaudiya Sampradaya, but this higher concept of Raja Bhakti like that. Basically, at the time, the Gaudiyas were so overwhelmed with what they were receiving from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and through his, his direct disciples, who he charged with basically codifying his presentation, Sanatan Rupa, Gopal Bhatta Dasa Goswami, following in his wake, Jiva Goswami, that they didn't see a necessity of writing a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra because their whole practice centered around Srimad Bhagavatam. So this was, everything was there in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Why do we need to go back to the Vedanta Sutra and give some commentary to justify our practice as Gaudiyas? But they were meeting some opposition by the other camps. And so Baladev was given charge of writing a commentary on Vedanta Sutra, which he didn't feel qualified to do. But still, all of his associates said, "It's okay, you could do it. Just, it'll be sufficient to, whatever you write will be more than sufficient to establish the credibility of the Gaudiya Sampradaya." So he felt it sufficient. He cried to his deity Govinda, "Please, I don't know, all right, can you at least take my dictation?" "Yeah, I can do that." "Okay." So that's why we call that the Govinda. It's coming from Krishna himself through the pen of Baladev Vidyabhushan. Yes?
I was just thinking about your example with the forest fire and people's houses burning. And you have some people that are so attached that they get on the roof with the water hoses and they try to, put their life in danger to save their house. Then you have people who just want the firefighters to risk their lives to save the house. And then you have the less attached people who just get the animals out and, oh yes, it burned, but
I've got insurance. In this material world, we always try to cover our bets. Thank you so very much. Hare Krishna. Oh, I didn't record that.
Chandra,